When Legends of Kingdom Rush first released, I was jealous of other people who gets to play it. As because if there was an RPG game but with Kingdom Rush characters, I am so down to play. Sad to say, it was only available on Apple Arcade that time. A particular member of the community I am extra jealous of at that time. I might have to repeat on what I have just said because I might get cancelled. I am jealous, not mad, and I do not hate this guy. In fact, I love him. His name is Voduke, particularly his video of the top 5 parties in Legends. This video was one of my favorites. It was not only early this year of 2024 I get to play Legends for the first time, and one of my favorite parties in Voduke's video is the one with Olak. I find it very fun in my playthrough. Since Legends is basically a dead game, I now get to have my own fun expressing my favorite hero combinations. But this time in Alliance. It's kinda a meme in the Ironhide beta testing server that I have beaten Alliance 8 times. I am on my way to my 9th playthrough and I am pretty confident with these hero picks. I started making this list way back in May during beta testings of the game. So if you're wondering if I make sense of what I am saying, then I hope that would speak for itself. Of course, these are still just my thoughts and what I find fun. Don't feel bad if your favorite duo is not on the list. If so, comment it down below. I'd love to hear it. So without further ado, let's start with the top 5 hero combinations in Kingdom Rush Alliance. Number 5. Railen
I am unrivaled.
and Nairu.
Listen to nature.
Railen and Nairu is one of my favorite free hero combinations. Railen will be your big stalling tank that can also do a good job against crowds, thanks to her onslaught ability which enables her to attack faster and do small area damage. Railen is also pretty slow, so to compensate to this weakness we have Nairu. Nairu is fast thanks to his mobility traveling long distances. Nairu is also a magic hero, making her good against armored enemies in this game like Cult Abominations, in which is one of Railen's weaknesses, as her only reliable way of killing armored enemies is with her Brutal Slash, which has a pretty long cooldown. This is where Nairu has her back, as he can deal with armored enemies while Railen can stall it. Thanks to the last upgrade in the Lumenir path, Lunarian hero spells can also heal. This is especially good for Railen, which in my experience always takes a lot of damage, so this can help her keep fighting. Plus the roots can also help out with masked enemies like Lerdings. These two heroes can cover each other's weaknesses of mobility, physical damage, magic damage, area damage, and a bit of support. Overall, these two are pretty good, I must say. Another popular partner with Railen is also Anya, but I have her up in the list. I don't want the same hero to cover multiple spots on this list so that it can be somewhat diverse. So special shout out to combos like Railen plus Anya or Nairu plus Vesper.
Listen to nature.
Number 4. Warhead
and destroy.
and Onagro. If I am looking for a duo that just screams fire and explosions, these two will be it. Onagro is like what if Bolin and Doomtank had a baby. Onagro has a lot of going for him. What I think Onagro's biggest strength is within his basic attacks. He can constantly shoot out missiles that do damage. Not to mention he attacks twice, making the critical chance from the upgrade tree having a better chance of triggering. Tar Bomb is an upgrade I really appreciate because that slow effect can help Onagro dish out even more damage. Pair it with his hero ability to call in the Zeppelin, and boy, you also have area damage for crowds. And not to mention, you can also slow them even more if you have the last upgrade from the tree active. If you have not noticed, but Onagro can't stall enemies or like engage in melee combat. This is where Warhead steps in. Warhead can stall and his kit works well with Onagro. Two of his skills can stun or slow, that being Deep Impact and Smokescreen. Deep Impact is probably my favorite one as it has a pretty short cooldown of 15 seconds, plus it stuns an enemy for 2 seconds. Another notable feature of Warhead is his hero ability that is just great for overwhelming crowds. It can also be a nice cleanup skill if some enemies were able to get past Warhead and Onagro. Overall, just a fun duo that is just waiting to not look at explosions. Number 3. Anya
Hunting is my business.
and Broden. Nothing screams more American than a duo like them. Guns is the name of the game. Anya is one of the best heroes in the game, and I would say is the best in 1v1 stalling. This is thanks to her Vampiric Claw that can heal her for up to 20% at max. Flying enemies are a big problem in this game, but Anya can handle them pretty well thanks to her hard-hitting range attacks that can deal around 48 to 70 at max. Her hero ability, which is her dead father, can also help around with flyers and can be extra DPS if she will be forced to go on melee. Anya is good on her own, but my guy Broden makes it extra fun. His skill, Terror Shriek, stuns enemies for 2 seconds, plus slowing them down afterwards. This can help Anya's Argent Storm dish out more damage, making the most of it. And yes, it's pronounced Argent Storm, not freaking Agent Storm. Another thing I found fun is with his hero ability of summoning griffins. It's a good way to do chip damage along with Anya's bats. This again doubles for her Argent Storm cleanup or for Broden's insta-kill that requires at least 900 health for it to work. Yes, another thing before we move on is that they are both fast, which I really like. I highly recommend these two, most especially Anya. She's definitely one of the best heroes in this game. Number 2, Grimson
No one can stop us.
and Therien.
The void stares back.
Having that signature purple team to the Dark Army makes Grimson and Therien extra cool, but besides coolness, Grimson and Therien have some serious synergy with each other, making them one of my favorite duos in the game. Rewind again back to May 2024, where I said this while beta testing the game. Thanks to the buff these two received, they are now extra good, especially with each other. Firstly, Therien's Void Rift works well with Grimson's Crippling Death. This is thanks to its slowing effect that can make enemies stay in that area for longer, and thus making the Void Rifts dish out more damage, and the Crippling Death is about to end you having this big chunk of damage which would really hurt enemies. Next is Therien's Black Aegis, which works so well with Grimson. Despite Grimson having healing capabilities, I still find him very easy to die from enemies. This is where Black Aegis comes in. It can help Grimson tank more, plus it explodes when it's over. While Grimson tanks, you can just have Therien dealing magic damage, and you could also just pop down reinforcements, preferably Shadow Archers for more DPS. Therien's hero ability, Cosmic Prison, is also another way of stalling, plus it does damage over time while those enemies are in those prisons. If they are still alive, Grimson could just follow it up with Deadly Spikes or just his hero ability spell again. Overall, these two have proper synergy, not to mention they are both Dark Army and siblings. Not the most overpowered duo, but definitely not the most underpowered duo too, which I really like and enjoy for these two. Number 1, Lumenir.
Smite the unholy.
And can you guess who? Of course, it's Kosmyr.
I am raw power.
You most likely predicted this placement as these two powerhouses are no joke. They are one of the most advertised duo by Ironhide and they do deliver. Sometimes, you do not need skills that complement the other hero to be good. They are just good on their own. Although there is one skill that doesn't work well, it's Lumenir's Blessing of Retribution because Kosmyr can't stall. But that's not really a big problem because you are using them for their damage. Lumenir's Celestial Judgment is one of the most hardest hitting skill in the game at a whopping 540 true damage at max, plus it stuns. This can make way for other skills, like this time for Kosmyr. He can deploy his crystals like his prismatic shards that can do damage in an area. If those were not enough, Kosmyr could just insta-kill the enemy to get it over with. These two just makes the game so much easier, and they just speak for themselves. If you're having big trouble in Area 3, you better just equip Lumenir and Kosmyr. They again just make the game so easier. Sometimes I just sit them in an area and just forget about them. They are that good. To who is better, it's up to you, but for me, overall it's just Kosmyr. just for that raw high damage and that nice hero ability. Lumenir is more of a support type dragon, which is still good for your ground units like barracks and reinforcements. With that, my list comes to an end. There are a lot of things you can pair your heroes with. Obviously, condensing it all in just a top 5 is pretty tough, and I definitely don't want to list down all possible combinations in the game, and who would have time to watch that video if I go in depth in each one, lol. So, I want to hear yours. Let's make this community as friendly and as interactive as possible. For the Alliance.